So guys, let's talk. Most men want to lead in a relationship, but a lot of guys are confusing leadership with ego. You've seen it. The guy who has to be right in every argument, gets loud when he feels challenged, shuts down when she gives feedback, and calls it being a man. Meanwhile, his girl is emotionally checked out, intimacy is dropping, and he can't figure out why things feel heavy all the time. That's not leadership, guys. That's insecurity in a nice suit. So in my video today, we're breaking down how to lead a relationship without ego, how to be a grounded man who guides, protects, and sets direction without controlling, competing with, or crushing the woman next to him. Stay with me until the end, because if you get this right, guys, it changes the way women experience you, the way conflict feels, and the way you feel about yourself as a man. My name is Troy, this is my channel, and welcome. Here's a real issue. Most guys were never taught the difference between healthy masculine leadership and ego-based control. We grew up seeing two extremes: the weak passive men who let everything slide, or loud domineering men who steamroll everyone around them. Add social media alpha nonsense to the mix, and now you've got guys thinking leadership means never apologizing, never compromising, and always winning every interaction with their woman. The problem is, when ego is driving, everything becomes a threat. Our emotions feel like an attack, our standards feel like criticism, and any disagreement becomes disrespect. You start to see your own woman as competition instead of a teammate. That tension builds. Little arguments turn into cold wars. She starts feeling safe around you, opening up. You start feeling respected, and both of you are stuck in a power struggle that nobody really wins. Underneath all this, it's fear and insecurity. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being seen as weak, fear of losing control. So you overcompensate. You raise your voice instead of raising your standards. You protect your pride instead of protecting the connection. You'd rather win the argument than win the relationship. And it's not all of your fault. No one had read your manual on how to lead with emotional maturity, clear communication, and humility. But here's the thing, guys. The world doesn't reward ego in relationship. It rewards self-awareness, calm strength, and a man who can hold space for both his emotions and hers without turning everything into a battlefield. So let's fix it. Let's talk about how to actually lead without ego, because when you do, you stop fighting your partner and start fighting for the relationship. Here's the first shift. Understand that leadership is responsibility, not control. Real leadership starts with you leading yourself, your habits, your reactions, your standard. If you can't manage your own emotions, you have no business trying to manage a relationship. A man who leads without ego doesn't ask, how do I get her to act right? He asks this question, how do I show up as a better man? That means you're the one who sets the tone. You're on time, you follow through on your word, you plan dates, you handle business, you bring stability instead of chaos. You don't need to shout your orders or dominate. Your presence communicates, I've got this. And she feels it. Leadership without ego has been the anchor in the storm, not the storm itself. Here's the second shift. Respond, don't react. Ego reacts always. Leadership responds. And there's a difference. Let's say she brings something up and says, hey, I don't like how you talked to me earlier. Ego hears criticism and backs back. You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. Or the classic, what about what you did? Now you're in a blame game, guys. Leadership is an opportunity. Okay, something I did made her feel that way. Let me understand it. The move is simple but not easy. Pause before you speak. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, am I trying to protect my pride, or am I trying to protect this connection? That tiny gap between emotion and action is where mature leadership lives. You can still disagree, you can still stand on what you believe in, but you do it calmly, clearly, and without tearing her down. And here's the third shift. Listen to understand, not to defend yourself. Most men listen just long enough to reload their next argument. That's ego listening. Leadership listening is a little bit different. It says, help me understand what you're feeling, not let me prove why you're wrong. When she's talking, you're not rolling your eyes, checking your phone, or waiting to jump in. You're present. You're watching her body language. You're noticing when her voice cracks, and you're reflecting back what you heard. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you a safe place. And when a woman feels safe with you emotionally, she relaxes, respects you, opens up in ways ego will never access. Leadership is not just making decisions, guys, it's making sure the people affected by those decisions feel heard, always. And here's the fourth shift. Set standards and boundaries with calm firmness, not anger. A lot of men today only speak up when they feel annoyed, disrespected, or done. Then it comes out as rage or cold indifference. Leadership without ego means you communicate your standards clearly without drama. You can say, hey, I don't raise my voice. I don't get cursed out. If we're going to disagree, let's keep it respectful in a calm tone. You can also say, I need us to be on time when we're going somewhere important without turning it into a lecture. Boundaries are not about controlling her. They're about protecting the type of relationship you both say you want. The more you speak from your values instead of your emotions, the less ego has room to hijack that conversation. And here's the fifth shift. Apologize with strength and hone your part. Weak men avoid apologies because they think it makes them look small. Strong men apologize because they know it keeps the connection strong. When you mess up, and you will, you don't deflect, minimize, or flip it on her. You say, I was wrong about how I handled that, and I get why that hurt you, and here's what I'm going to do differently this time. And that is leadership, guys. Notice you're not groveling, you're not begging, you're not losing your frame. You're simply telling the truth about your behavior and communicating to do better. Ego is obsessed with being perfect. Leadership is obsessed with getting better. And the woman will always trust a man who is committed to growth, but the man pretending he never slips. And the final shift, guys, choose partnership over performance. Ego turns relationship into a stage. You're constantly trying to prove you're the man in charge, that nobody can check you. Leadership turns relationship into a team sport. You're not competing with her, you're building with her. You pray for her, you celebrate her wins and not feel threatened by them. You say we more than I. You can be the one setting the direction by saying, here's the kind of life I'm building and here's the standard I live by. But you also invite her voice to the conversation and the process. You don't need to impress her with how alpha you are. Your consistency, your character, and your ability to stay grounded under pressure say more than any performance ever could. Here's what I want you to walk away with. The relationship you want will be built by your ego. It will be built by your maturity. Leading without ego doesn't mean you shrink yourself and become passive or let anything slide. It means you become the kind of man who can hold strength and softness, direction and empathy, standards and patience all at the same time. The man who can say, this is where we're going, and also tell me how you feel along the way. That's the kind of man she wants. So this week, pick one area to practice. Maybe it's pausing before you react. Maybe it's actually listening to the next argument. Maybe it's apologizing for something you know you mishandled. Don't just watch this video, guys, and nod. Apply it consistently. Your future, your relationship, your future wife, and your future self will thank you for it. And this is Troystyled. Grow, style, and refine always.